FM 94, The Dark. It is that time. It's time to get to a band once again. And tonight on the phone, I am talking with Cam from the band Veio. And Cam, first of all, thanks so much for joining me. And how are things going? I guess you're calling from Portland, Oregon, where I guess the world knows where Portland is now, don't they?
Yeah, they definitely do. We've been in the news a little bit lately, I guess, and yeah, we're hanging in there up here in the corner of the country, and just trying to enjoy the rest of the nice weather for the summer, and hopefully things calm down pretty soon.
All right, let's get into the band first, and then we can talk about kind of what's happening in the world and then how it's affecting the band. But give us the history of this band and how it all came about.
So this band has been together for about 4 years now, and we're just my brother is our drummer, and so we've been playing together since we were kids. And Chris, our bass player, came on board when we formed this lineup and everything 4 years ago, and have just sort of developed our sound and developed our touring and our whole thing since. We've got 2 full-length records out. New one just came out a couple months ago. So, yeah, we're just kind of trying to get along in the world the best we can right now, as everybody else is.
What's it like to be able to play in a band with your brother?
I mean, it's been a lot of fun. It's great. He's my best friend. He's been playing with me, like I said. He's a year and 11 months younger, so we've been playing together since we were 9 and 11 years old, since we were little kids. And we had a little kid band at the time, then we had kind of our middle school, high school band, and then we've done some other projects together, and then now we have Veio, so it's been awesome.
Hey, talk about growing up then with your brother. What was kind of the family dynamics of the Byrd house and growing up as a couple of boys in the I guess the Portland area or Northwest area?
Yeah, I mean, we were both basketball and baseball players growing up. We put a lot of time and energy into sports and athletics in general. And, pursued music as well at the same time. None of my family comes from a musical background. But when we were young kids, a home that we moved into actually had a piano in there already that the previous owners had left. And so we started kind of banging around on that at a real young age. And the love of music just kind of followed thereafter.
So who's the better athlete?
Oh, man, I gotta say myself.
Okay.
I mean, he might tell you differently, but I got to say me.
All right. Now are you're basketball players? So, and I guess I don't really know your height so much. So, were you guys more guards, forwards? What was your positions? I guess for basketball.
Yeah, well, I'm taller than my brother. He's about 5'10", and I'm like a hair under 6'3".
Oh, okay.
So basketball was more my game than his, and I ended up playing in college. I actually spent a few years out in the Midwest during college playing in Indiana, northern Indiana. And, so my height really did me better for basketball, while his height did him better for baseball.
So the piano got you kind of involved in music, but I guess let's talk about that. Growing up as a kid and, parents always have an influence on kind of what kids listen to, at least to start with. What did your parents listen to, and did that actually help you influence to what you are today?
So my mom was huge on Elvis Presley growing up. And so, like, Elvis Presley and musicals. She loved the Grease soundtrack, all that kind of stuff. So, rock and roll in that capacity was introduced to me early on. But then my dad was a big fan of, kind of the major classics now, Led Zeppelin, Hendrix, those type of dudes. He saw Hendrix burn his guitar at the Monterey Pop Festival,
Nice.
like live. He saw it with his own eyes. So, I was introduced to kind of that whole, what's now considered classic rock from an early age too. And Hendrix is still one of my all-time favorite artists. Like he's like the dude to me. So, I was introduced to, spanning from Elvis Presley to Zeppelin to AC/DC and Metallica growing up, from a young age by my parents.
Nice. And it's kind of, I always like to get the history of being a youngster because it kind of it forms you a little bit of what you are for an artist today, and maybe that's the reason why you're picking this genre of music. And looking at today's genre of music, there's so many of them, but it's such a broad, when you say rock, it could be anything. I mean, we've gone from like almost rock now, like has turned into metal, to like alternative, to even like soft rock. I mean, it's all over the place. I guess, how do you look at when we say rock? Is it really not even worried about what is coming out, but just kind of the feel of it?
Yeah, you pretty much said that perfectly, and how I would too. We consider ourselves just a rock band because at the end of the day, that's what we and all of our colleagues in this industry are. We're rock bands, right? And people get so nitpicky with subgenres and like, oh, this band fits here, this band doesn't fit there. It's just kind of like it's a little ridiculous to me. And so we say that we're kind of a hard rock band, a little alt metal, a little bit of prog in there, but we don't fit necessarily in one of those versus the other more so. So I just say that we're a rock band, and I agree. Like, people get too nitpicky with genres. It's like, hey, man, if you like the music, if it's got a good feel to it, why does it matter what it's labeled as?
We're talking with Cam from the band Veil. Let's talk about the name of the band. How did that all come about?
So I chose the name Veio. I'm a big history nerd, and at the time that we were kind of forming the band and had some ideas going, a giant, an ancient statue of the goddess Apollo, or the god Apollo, was discovered in this ancient town outside of Rome, and the town's name was Veio. And I just was kind of like, oh, that's kind of unique, kind of cool. It kind of has a cool vibe to it. It's different, it's weird. Our name is mispronounced all the time, which we totally understand.
I was going to say, first of all, when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'll just get rid of the E and call it Vio. But I mean, what other pronunciations have there been that you've heard of? We get
Vio, we get Vio, we get they, we get all sorts of things. And so we just tell people we're the word veil without an L on the end. It's just with an O instead, so it's Veio. But it's just kind of an insignificant meaning to us, really, but just kind of a cool historical thing at the time we were forming the band. So we rolled with it.
Well, I tell you what, the band Veio has really started to take a liking to rock radio. In fact, your song "Flare of Defiance" did very well on rock radio. In fact, got into the top 30, and that is tough for a small up-and-coming band to do. Why do you feel the success of that song happened?
First of all, we feel very fortunate that we broke into the top 30 with a lot of really, really big bands that have a lot bigger following than we do. But "Flare of Defiance" was the first track off of our new record, and we just felt like it had good energy, good drive to it, a decently catchy chorus, and I don't know why it took off so well. The people are enjoying it, and we're thankful for that. So we love to play that one live, and hopefully we can keep the steam rolling on it.
Has there been obviously you have a record label, you have people behind the scenes, but in the music industry, even maybe bands and that, has there been some people that have tried to help you guys out a little bit? Or are you guys just doing this pretty much on your own?
We're doing a lot of it on our own. It's pretty DIY, and I say that alongside our label team. We don't have this vast, broad team, industry team. We've got our select few guys who have done a great job for us, and a lot of the stuff that we've done up until now has been kind of DIY, do it from home stuff, and then and so we've gotten pretty good at that kind of thing. And then we add our guys who have been in the industry for decades now and are top notch, worked with some of the biggest bands out there. It's just a perfect matchup for us.
Absolutely. And you guys are with Silent Majority Group, correct? Is that what your label is?
Yep, Silent Majority Group is our label, and Jeff and Mark there have done a great job for us, and they're friends and family more so than counterparts and colleagues now at this point. So it's been a great matchup for us.
Yeah, and they've had some very big hitters that have come through there, haven't they?
Yeah, Creed is obviously an all-time giant name in the rock world. They've had Seven Dust, they've had Paramore, just to name a few. So I mean, those are three gigantic bands right there that we aspire to be like at some point.
Yeah, in fact, our listeners know about a month ago, I had a chance to talk with LaJohn Witherspoon from Seven Dust, and we were chatting a little bit about the COVID-19 world and that, and so I'll bring that in, and that being my question. How has it affected your band here in the last 4 or 5 months since we've had COVID-19 happen?
It's affected us greatly. This year was kind of supposed to be our year to really get out and hit the road hard. We've toured extensively before, but this is our year to really get out with a new album out, to push that, to really build our following as we've been building it more and more over the last couple of years. And just like everybody else, we're stuck at home doing the same things everyone else is around the country, and so it hasn't just affected just us as a band. It's affected everyone, as you well know. And so, yeah, we're just kind of stuck at home doing what we can, starting to actually write new music already, and just trying to keep the momentum rolling as best we can, and moving forward.
Yeah, I love hearing that you're writing new music, because I've been scratching my head a little bit on, and some of these bands are coming out with covers and stuff, and I'm like, why don't you put some new stuff rather than doing the covers? I mean, I get the logic behind a cover song, because it's a comfort. Normally when there's something that's going wrong, your mental state is like, hey, I want to have something I remember that was a good time. So I get why they maybe are doing that, but you kind of think and kind of hope that with all these artists now having all this extra time on their hands, that a lot of new and good music will be coming out here in maybe 2021.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Covers are kind of a trend right now. A lot of people are doing it, and there's a lot of good ones out there. But at the end of the day, we love writing original music more so. We've done some covers in the past. We've played covers live. We've recorded one cover a couple years ago now. But new music is always just so refreshing and energetic and life-giving to us as a band that we're already, even though we dropped a new record 2 months ago now, right, we're already looking to the future and putting out new material.
Of course, off that record, you have a new song that we're spinning now on the airwaves called Crux. Talk about that song.
Yeah, Crux is song number 3 off the new record, Vitruvian. And that was a song that's kind of funny. We thought that song was going to be kind of like one of the quote-unquote burner songs on the record, just kind of an album song that was just kind of like extra material on there, because a lot of the riffs in that song were actually kind of like hodgepodge together from a lot of different places. Like the main opening lick in that song we'd had for several years now since we recorded our first full-length record. And so it just kind of came together well in the studio. It was more and more apparent to us as I finished the vocals up and we started putting some finishing touches on it that, hey, this could be actually like a big rock anthem kind of song, I guess. It's something that people could sing to live, something that people could pump their fist to live. And so we were like, yeah, this is turning out great, and we're happy with the way it all went down.
Yeah, and in fact, at least on the charts that came out last week, at least on the Foundations chart, it was number 48, and it was trending up. So when the new charts come out tomorrow or today, it'd probably be even higher than that. So that's a good thing. Another song that's charting, which is a key. I think it's important, because at least programmers start looking at, okay, where is this band doing? If you've never heard of them before, and they say, oh, I'll give it a listen, and the next thing you know is you blow up and you're big.
Definitely, and we're hoping for that.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to ask you, what do you think it's going to be like now? Obviously, with most bands right now haven't been doing much touring. There's been a few bands doing some touring here and there, but it's just hit or miss. But I guess, what do you think the new norm is going to look like in a concert venue, in a rock show, once we get through all this? I mean, when Veio's out on stage, when you're looking out there, it's probably not going to look exactly the same like it used to. What are you guys envisioning it's going to be like in the future?
Well, to be honest, I'm really hoping, as everyone else is, that at some point, maybe it might be a year from now, it might be 2 years from now, but I really hope and envision that things go back to complete normalcy, to what we're used to, as far as, just being able to go to a show and having people in close proximity to each other and maybe, moshing a little bit and beating each other up and, pumping their fists and singing along and spitting out into the air and everything like that. And, that's my hope, I should say, is that, at some point, whether it be this coming year or a year or two from now, that everything's back to complete normalcy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be. I mean, it's one thing that you guys are putting out new music, and that's good. But you need to get out in front of people because that's huge to keep your brand going, to make some money, and then also for all those venues and all the behind the scenes people, they need jobs too, don't they?
Oh, completely. This whole thing has just wrecked the entire industry, and it's not just the bands that are suffering from it, for sure.
No, I know. I've talked to a lot of different bands, and it's, and I never thought about it. At first you're thinking, oh, it's hurting the band, but it's all the people behind the scenes that make a show happen that it's really hurting a lot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them too, so it's really taking its toll on just more than what the typical concert goer, their eyes can see.
This album that you have out, and of course you released the second song. How many more songs do you think you're going to release off of this album before you start saying, all right, that's enough of this and we move on? Or is this an album, since now we're in the COVID-19 world, that really hasn't got a lot of, play and stuff like that? Is this going to be an album that maybe goes on for a couple of years?
We're not sure yet. We're still kind of weighing that out and feeling that out. We're very satisfied with the album. We're really happy the way the whole thing turned out. So we may release another couple tracks as singles, as the songs that we want to push out there. But we're kind of still just weighing that. We got some really cool ideas on the table now as far as a couple different new projects to do. And so we're hoping that people hear Flare of Defiance and Crux and everything like that, and they go and take a listen to our album and pick their favorite songs themselves. But as far as new releases go from this one, we're still unsure of that.
When it comes to touring, I'm sure you want to get back on the road and do that. If you had to pick a tour that you'd like a couple other bands to go with, who would you love to go out with and tour once we finally break through this you can't go out and tour thing anymore?
I think probably of newer bands that have really broken out in the last handful of years, I would say Nothing More is probably at the top of my list.
Okay, yeah, guys out of Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, I really dig those guys. We've got some mutual friends, although I've never met those guys myself. But as far as bands that I'm really huge fans of and have been for a long time, I love Meshuggah. They're a little more extreme than our music. I love Tool. Who doesn't love Tool?
Yep.
We've been out with other bands before, like Starset was great to get out and tour with. Being out with Seether was a huge amount of fun for us. And so, just getting out and just playing in front of some crowds again will be fun. So whoever can help us get out there and play in front of some big crowds, we would love to be out with.
Absolutely. Hey, if people want more information about the band Veio, how can they get that? I'm assuming the social media platforms and then also the new album too?
Yeah, we got all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. We're trying to do a little better job on Twitter, but none of us are big fans of Twitter.
I'm not a Twitter guy either, so.
Yeah. And then, VeioMusic.com is our website. The band name is spelled VEIO. And, we're out there everywhere. Spotify, whatever music platform you listen to, we're out there. So, yeah, we'd love for people to check us out. And our new record is called Vitruvian, and we'd love people to give that a spin.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me, and good luck to you guys, and hopefully things continue in the right way they're doing.
Yeah, thank you much. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, we're going to play your latest song, Crux, right now. Take care, and hopefully we'll see you at a concert very soon, Cam.
We will hopefully be up there in the Minnesota area sometime very quickly.
Awesome. Once again, that is Cam. He's from the band Veil. Their latest song is Crux. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM 94.